cup.
Look, it's time to team up and stop the cruelty.
My board is up, and I see him walking towards me.
Walking, yelling no justice, no peace.
Nearly, until my people reach equality.
One day, when the glory comes, it'll be ours, be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we will be sure. Glory, glory,
Now the war is not over, victory isn't won. We'll fight on to the finish, then when it's all done, we cry glory, oh glory, oh glory, oh glory. We'll cry glory, oh glory.
Something must be done as soon as possible. And if we come together, we're unstoppable. If you red, white, yellow, green, or blue, this isn't just our fight, nah, it's yours too. More than being enslaved like my ancestors. It's time that we expose the country's transgressions. We're the future, not the past. It's time to steal the present. Unity is what we're wishing for as a present. We doing Zoom calls, protests, rallies, and more. The bigger we are in numbers, yeah, we can even the score. The year is 2020. Let us make that clear. This the last generation they mess with fear. And when we get old, the stories will be on repeat. Fighting for our rights and mass and trying to keep 6 feet. With my hand in yours, look at our justice and peace. Fists up, it's time to come together on our own streets.
when the glory comes, it'll be ours, it'll be ours. Ooh, one day, when the war is won, we'll be sure, we'll be sure. Glory,
See the war in the war.
Fight on, fight
We'll cry glory.
glory.
We need to stand together so we can be one.
Gravity is so crazy, it's the only way I ever could touch you. Captain, can you hear me? I wish I was the one that told you. Stuck in the moonlight, trying to call my baby. Trying to reach her, but now it's going hard, say Everything's gone, so now I'm never coming home.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Senator Gary Peters.
now I'm never coming home.
It is so great to see everybody, and I just want to say thank you, Detroit Youth Choir. What an amazing performance. Well, folks, I've got some really great news, because guess who's right behind me? Vice President Joe Biden is here. He is ready to come out, and I can't wait to see him, and we are so happy that he's right back here in Michigan and right here in Detroit. We know that Joe cares about this state, and we know because he has been here before, and he's been here when we need him. And when he has been here, we have had the opportunity to actually see firsthand what leadership really means and what leadership can do. And I'm talking about back in 2008, when we were in the midst of a financial crisis that was brought about by the greed that we saw on Wall Street that brought our economy to the edge. And when that happened, it also brought our auto industry to the edge, the livelihood for so many of us in this state. You know, I remember I was newly elected to the House of Representatives in Congress. I represented a district which included the Chrysler headquarters up in Auburn Hills. And I will never forget this meeting. This is in my mind forever. As I went and met with the CEO of the company and some of the executives as times were getting really rough. We were meeting, and he was saying, Congressman, he goes, I want you to be clear to where we are here in Chrysler. We know the financial markets have weakened and collapsed. You can't get credit. Our sales are down. We are just teetering. And he goes, I will tell you right now that we are probably around 3 weeks away from actually liquidating this company. Not reorganizing it, liquidating this company. And I looked around the meeting, and the folks that were there, a lot of the people, I don't think they had ever heard their CEO say that the company was going to be liquidated in 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And I had this vision, this horrible vision that went into my head. And you know that Chrysler headquarters, that big building and that huge parking lot. And I had this vision of grass growing in the parking lot because there weren't cars there. I had visions of families who suddenly saw their livelihood disappear and all the other businesses that rely on the auto industry in this state and in this country. It was a bleak time. But I just want to say, we have to remember, and we should all thank President Obama and Joe Biden for standing with American companies. There were people that said, let them go bankrupt, let them go away. Joe Biden said, no, I will stand with American workers. I will always stand with them to make sure that they have the opportunity to be successful and to be able to live that American dream. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Joe Biden. He has stood with us in the past. He will stand with us in the future. And that's why we will elect him the next president of the United States. That is leadership. And right now we are seeing the opposite from the White House. We are seeing a president, President Trump, who does not know how to lead. And we need a president that leads, not tweets. But that's what we have. The mismanagement that we've seen in this White House is painfully apparent to all of us in the pandemic. The mismanagement as to where we continue to deal with this pandemic. You look at other countries and how they dealt with it, they're far along. But we had a president that failed to take action quickly, failed to acknowledge us, told us it would disappear, did not engage in the administration in dealing with getting ahead of this virus. He has failed miserably. That's why we need to elect Joe Biden as our next president, because we've got to deal with this pandemic. But Joe Biden can't do it alone. As wonderful as he is, he needs help in Washington, which is why he needs to have a Democratic majority in the United States Senate. We cannot let Mitch McConnell do what he did to President Obama and block every initiative. We've got to make sure that we elect Democrats all across this country, and I got good news for everybody. We've got a real shot. We have great candidates. We've got states that we can pick up. But we have a challenge for all of us here in Michigan. That gets very difficult if we don't win this Senate seat here in Michigan. We must make sure this state stays blue. And I get reelected and go back as a Democrat from the state of Michigan in the United States Senate. And voters have a real choice. I'm proud to stand with Joe Biden. My opponent, John James, says he supports Donald Trump 2,000%. He is wrong in supporting Donald Trump, and the people of Michigan will reject his support of Donald Trump on Election Day. But we've got a lot of work to do. They are pouring money into this race. I'm sure you see the negative false ads that are piling on the television. Fact checkers all say they're false, they're demonstrably false, they're smears, and they're part of the kind of campaigns we see from Donald Trump and the Republicans when it's about division and falsehoods. That's not who we are as Democrats. As Democrats, we have a vision for the future where all Americans will be able to share in the bounty of this great country. But we have to get out and vote. We've got to fight the billionaires who are pouring money into this race. And there's a lot we have to do. I urge all of you, get part of the One campaign. Get out there, help us, give your time, whatever you can, to make the calls. We've got great organizers back there from the One campaign. Work with them in order to get out the vote. We have 18 days, and I just want to leave you with this kind of takeaway as you drive out here tonight. I want everybody to just think back to 2016. Just think back. Take a moment, close your eyes, and just think about that morning after the election and how we felt when we saw that Hillary wasn't able to prevail and Donald Trump won. Remember that feeling in your gut and how we felt? And every one of us, I think I said it, everybody, like, could I have just done a little bit more? Could I have put 2 more hours in call time? Could I have knocked down a few more doors? The election was over, but I got great news for you. When you wake up, I want you to wake up tomorrow and have that feeling and say, oh my gosh, there's still 2.5 weeks. I can do more. I can work today. I can sign up for the One campaign. I can make calls. I can talk to my friends. I'm not going to squander one single day because that one day may make the difference between taking back this country and not doing it. We will work that day. And when we get done working, and I can assure you the whole country is watching Michigan right now. We are the center of the presidential race. We are the center of this U.S. Senate race. And people are going to be watching to see what we do. And I will say that next morning, think now the morning after this election, when we get up and people all across the country will get up and we will join them when they jump out of their seats and they scream and holler because they'll say, thank God Michigan is a blue state. We've elected Joe Biden, the next president of the United States. We have a majority in the U.S. Senate and Congress. Democrats have prevailed. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Everett Whitfield.
I'll make it through. The time has come for me to break out of the shell. I have to shout that I'm coming out.
Good evening and welcome to the wonderful city of Detroit, Michigan. This magnificent city is the birthplace of cars and a home of classic music of Motown, which is the home of Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Temptations, Four Tops, Supremes, and the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. In Detroit, we have our personal greetings when we see each other in the street. We say, "What up, though?" I want to send greetings to my family, the Whitfield Davis, my fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi, my MSU Spartans, go green, go white, my close friends, my two wonderful children, Adrian and Kyle Day Whitfield. What an honor to be here with all of you and with the Vice President Biden at such an important time in our country history. My name is Everett C.J. Whitfield. I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher for the past 22 years. I'm currently a 4th and 5th grade teacher at Thurko K-8 Elementary Middle School under the guidance and leadership of Principal Stephanie Gaines. I'm a proud DFT member, which stands for Detroit Federation of Teachers, AFT Michigan, American Federation of Teachers. I'm so happy to see Miss Randy Weigarten, Terrence Martin, and David, who travel across the country to visit our wonderful city, Detroit, Michigan. Let me tell you a little something about me. I grew up on the east side of Detroit. I'm the youngest of 4 children. I have overcome many challenges, including stutter, like Vice President Joe Biden. Growing up on Davidson Street by McNichols in a street called Mitchell, I can recall listening to my grandmother, Miss Willie Mae Davis, who shared her wisdom with all of her family. One quote I fondly remember was, "Good, better, best. Never let it rest. Until your good is better, your better is best." I still think about that phrase a lot when I look around in our country, and you know what? We are not at our best. As a teacher in Detroit Public School District, we teach our children the characteristic trait, to respect each other, to show empathy, to have compassion to one another, and then finally, to recognize each other's rights. The current president of the United States doesn't practice this at all. He does not have the decency to wear a mask. That shows lack of respect. He does not have the decency to practice social distance. That shows lack of empathy and compassion. And he ignores science, which violates other people's health. He is not a leader that which our children can look up to. The good news is we have a chance to make that change by electing Joe Biden as our president. Joe Biden is a leader we can trust, count on, and be proud of. He has shown compassion to others in various ways, regardless of the party lines. He shows that he cares. I appreciate his history of working with people of color. He was President Obama's vice president, and he picked Kamala Harris to be his. That's why I voted for him today. That's right. Before I came here, I filled out my absentee ballot for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I signed the back, put it in an envelope, and dropped it in the drop box. It was the easiest thing to do. Look, my fellow teachers, my parents, guardian, grandparents, Detroiters, people who live in Oakland, Wayne, and also to Macomb County, we have to vote. There's too much at stake. I strongly believe in democracy. Your vote is your voice, and it counts. My ancestors could not vote. So it is on us to use our voice and exercise their right to vote, the right in which they fought so hard to have. I want to end this thought with a song by Quincy Jones and Tevin Campbell. Tomorrow will bring a better you, a better me. I know that we can show this world we got more we could be. So you should never give up on your hope and your dreams. We must get up, get out, get into it, get it on to be strong. Let us do our best by voting and supporting the Biden and Harris ticket in 2020. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. And now, coming to the stage, let's welcome our future President of the United States, President Joe Biden.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a car guy, and I got a 67 Corvette that's Goodwood Green. That's not a 67, that's a 427. That thing gets up and goes. Anyway, choir, you must be freezing to death. Well, I tell you what, man, you ought to huddle in the bus or something. Folks, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being here. It's, what time is it now? 7 o'clock at night, cold as the devil, and you're here. And I thank you very, very much. Detroit, there's no better, no more appropriate place to hold a drive-in rally than in Motor City, USA. And I want to thank Everett. I want to thank Everett for sharing his story with us and for the unfailing dedication that you and so many of your proud union educators, we owe you. We owe you big for the students and families you take care of during these difficult times. I'm married. I'm Jill Biden's husband. She's an educator. So that's what teaching is. It's just not what she does. It's who she is. So Everett, thank you. And folks, look, I also want to thank the incredible leaders who are here today. My good friend, Mayor Duggan. And Mayor Duggan and I spent an awful lot of time together trying to get Detroit back. He got it back on the upside, but I was here when trying to get all the help he could possibly get to get it done. When, as vice president, fighting to support this city, invest in the revitalization and the future of Detroit. Because I've always believed in Detroit, and I'm just saying that. My dad was an automobile man. That's what got me through school. That's what everything was about. And I've always believed in Michigan. We have the finest auto workers in the world here in Michigan. That's not hyperbole, that's a fact. And I want to thank you, Chairwoman Barnes. Thank you very, very much. And Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist, you've been a good friend. And Governor Whitmer, you've been an incredible leader, tested. She's been tested and proven under crisis conditions and extraordinary circumstances. Your leadership through this pandemic has saved countless lives of Michiganders here, Gov. That's a fact. And you've shown the whole nation just how tough you are. Michigan tough. And I'm proud to call you a friend. And Senator Debbie Stabenow and Gary Peters, thank you for fighting for the people of Michigan who need help now, but aren't getting it because the Republican leader, Mitch McConnell, cares more about shoving through a Supreme Court nomination to take away your help than he does helping the hurting people in this city, this state, and this country. We can't forget that winning in November doesn't just mean defeating Donald Trump. It means winning back the United States Senate and expanding our majority in the House of Representatives. That's why we need to send Gary back to Washington, D.C. I really mean it, we need him. This is a guy who knows what he believes and says what he believes and does what he believes. And alongside Debbie Stabenow for the people of Michigan, but not quite frankly for the whole country. Folks, as my coach used to say, it's go time. This is the most important election of our lifetimes. And you can make all the difference here in Michigan. The choice is as clear as ever, and the stakes are higher than ever. The stakes are, in this election, remind me of something my dad used to say. He said, Joey, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about your place in your community. It's being able to look your child in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay, and mean it. Well, that's a lesson I've never forgotten. That's what I grew up surrounded by, hardworking families in Scranton, Pennsylvania, Claymont, Delaware. How many people today, though, can look their kids in the eye and say, everything's going to be all right, and mean it? These times are hard. Unemployment is way up due to the pandemic. Just this week, over 1,200,000 more people file for unemployment. The economic outlook for next year remains uncertain. And across Michigan and the country, folks are worried about making their next rent payment or their mortgage payment or their car payment. They're worried whether or not they can purchase the prescription drug they need or put food on the table, have to make a choice. Worried about sending their kids to school, worried about not sending their kids to school. They see the people at the top doing a hell of a lot better, while the rest of us are left to wonder, who's looking out for me? That's Donald Trump's presidency. More than 215,000, I think it's now 217,000 dead Americans because of COVID-19. And experts say we'll lose nearly 200,000 more lives in the next few months. All because this president cares more about his Park Avenue perspective on the world and the stock market than he does about you. Because he refuses to follow the science. It's estimated if we just wore these masks, between now and the end of the year, we'd save 100,000 lives. Folks, you know what's really sad about all this? The president knew. He knew back in January how dangerous this virus was. And he hid it from the American people. He told the journalist Bob Woodward in a taped interview that the disease was deadly in January, deadly, and far worse than the flu, and airborne. But here's what he did, according to the New York Times today. His administration gave Wall Street investors a heads up about it. Didn't tell us, but gave Wall Street investors a head up. But the American people, he said nothing. That's why they made so much money by, quote, selling short. They knew what was coming, but what happened to the rest of us? He told Bob Woodward he didn't want to panic the American people. We don't panic. He panicked. And his reckless personal conduct since his diagnosis has been unconscionable. The longer Donald Trump is president, the more reckless he gets. Dr. Fauci, the leading expert in the country, referred to the president's announcement on the Supreme Court in the Rose Garden as, quote, a super spreader event, causing so many people to get COVID. And how did Trump respond? He responded by running a national ad, taking Dr. Fauci's words out of context. Dr. Fauci said way back in March, a quote, "I can't imagine that anybody could be doing more," referring to the public health officials. Yet Trump took that quote out of context and put it in a campaign ad, deliberately lying, making it sound like Dr. Fauci was talking about him. Even after Fauci asked him to take the ad down, Trump's campaign said they continue to use the ad, knowing it was a lie. That behavior is no surprise. After all, this is the same man who looks at Americans who put their lives on the line, like my son, put their lives on the line to save our nation, calls them losers and suckers. My son Bo spent a year in Iraq, won the Bronze Star, the Conspicuous Service Medal. He was no sucker, and the people he left behind were heroes. And now, as a consequence of this overwhelming lying, misleading, and irresponsible action on the part of Donald Trump, how many empty chairs are there going to be around the dining room table tonight because of his negligence? Folks, we're so much better than this as a country. Despite the crisis we face, we have an enormous opportunity to build back better. The American people have had the blinders taken off. To replace Donald Trump's incentives for companies to ship jobs overseas with real policies and tax credits to revitalize American manufacturing. To make it in America, make it in Michigan, buy American. Look, We're going to do everything to give everyone a fair return on their work, an equal chance to get ahead. For example, in communities of color here in Detroit and all across the country, the question is, how do we break the cycle where in good times you lag behind, in bad times you're the first hit and hit the hardest, and in recovery you're the last ones to bounce back? The answer is about justice, criminal justice, police reform. This nation is strong enough to both honestly face systemic racism and strong enough to provide safe streets for our families and small businesses that too often bear the brunt of looting and burning. We have no need for armed militias roaming America's streets. And we should have no tolerance for extremist white supremacist groups menacing our community. These guys are hatching violent and deranged schemes like the one against Governor Whitmer that the FBI and local law enforcement uncovered and stopped last week. But make no mistake, that was a planned act of terrorism, a plot. Think of this, a plot in the United States of America to blow up a bridge on American soil, to threaten the lives of police officers, to kidnap an American leader. Is the sort of behavior you might expect from ISIS, and should shock the conscience of every American to see that sort of twisted thinking take root here in America. But all Trump does, is fan the flames of hatred and division in this country. Telling the Proud Boys in the debate with me, when I said, will you condemn them? He said, I'll tell them to stand back and stand by. What the hell's the matter with this guy? Attacking Governor Whitmer on the same day this plot was exposed. It's despicable. And by the same measure, if you say we have no need to face racial injustice in this country, you haven't opened your eyes to the truth of America today. There have been powerful voices for justice in recent weeks and months. George Floyd's 6-year-old daughter, who I met with, and when I met the family, Gina, I knelt down to say hi to her, and she said, looked at me and said, Daddy changed the world. Jacob Blake's mother, another one, when I met with her, said, violence doesn't reflect who her son is, and the nation needs healing, and said she's praying for the police officers. Or Doc Rivers, the basketball coach, choking back tears when he said, quote, we're the ones getting killed. We're the ones getting shot. We've been hung. It's amazing why we keep loving this country and this country doesn't love us back. Think about that. Think about what it takes to be a black person to love America today. That is a deep love of this country that is far too long has not been fully recognized. What we need in America's leadership to seek to de-escalate tensions, to open the lines of communications, to bring us back together again, to heal, to hope. As president, that's precisely what I'll do. But true justice is also about jobs, good paying jobs, financial stability, families of color building wealth, passing it down. That's how you deliver equality and equity. Another example, more and more women are dropping out of the workplace because of the recession. We're in a city or out in the suburbs. I have a plan to deal with the pandemic responsibly. New testing, tracing, masking, not politicizing the race for vaccine, planning for safe and equitable distribution, providing PPE and other resources for schools to reopen safely, ease the caregiving crisis that so many families are experiencing, squeezed between raising your kid and caring for your aged loved ones, and protect your health care. In the middle of this pandemic, why do the Republicans have the time, as I said, to hold a hearing on the Supreme Court instead of addressing the significant economic needs of local communities? I'll tell you why. It's about wiping out Obamacare, wiping it off the books, because our nominee has said in the past that the law should be struck down. It's going to take away health care coverage for 20 million Americans. They'll also take away protections for pre-existing conditions that more than 100 million people in America have. Complications of COVID-19 will also add to that. Lung scarring, heart damage, could well become the next pre-existing condition. That will toss out the rule that allows children to be covered on their parents' health insurance till age 26. Will take us backwards to when insurance companies could charge a woman more for health care than a man just because she's a woman. Folks, we can do so much better. Together, I'll build on the Affordable Care Act, where you can choose to keep your private insurance as well as offer Medicaid-like public option, which will give private insurers real competition. We're going to increase subsidies so your premiums are lower. You can afford to plan with lower deductibles, lower out-of-pocket spending. Folks, we can only do this if we come together as a country. Abraham Lincoln told us that a house divided cannot stand. Today, trust is ebbing. Hope seems elusive. And instead of healing, we're being ripped apart. I refuse to let that happen. We need to revive a spirit of bipartisanship in this country, a spirit of being able to work with one another. When I say that I'm told that used to be the way Joe used to get a lot of things done, but things have changed. Well, I'm here to tell you it can happen again. And it must, if there's anything going to get anything done. I'm running as a proud Democrat, but I will govern as an American president. I work with Democrats and Republicans. That's why so many Republican leaders have endorsed me. They know I've done it and will do it again. For those who don't support me, as well as those who do. Folks, that's the job of a president. The duty to care, the duty to heal. And you too have a sacred duty. As my friend John Lewis used to say, vote. It matters. Michigan matters. You elected me and Barack Obama in 2008 and 12, and you bet on us when we bet on you, and bet on American workers. We bet on the UAW. I'm asking for your trust and support in 2020 for Kamala and me. We'll always have your back, I promise you. So please, vote. Help us get out the vote. Go to iwillvote.com/MI. In Detroit, more than 20 years. Look, you have now 20 early voting centers. They're open now all across the city. Open 7 days a week on Election Day. It's a one-stop shop. You can go get registered and vote right then and there. So don't wait. Vote today. Tell everyone you know, everyone you meet, vote, vote, vote. And no matter what, don't let anybody discourage you or tell you your vote won't count, because it does. You, the American people, are going to decide the future of this country. Vote. It's time to restore America's soul. It's time to rebuild the backbone of this country, the middle class. And unions built the middle class, no matter what your race, or gender. Folks, look, it's time to unite America. It really is. I'll never forget what President Kennedy said about going to the moon. My colleagues in the Senate used to kid me about raising it when I bring it up in a caucus. He answered the question that was on everybody's lips, but nobody asked. Why are we doing this? He said, we're doing it because we refuse to postpone. I refuse to postpone any longer the work America must do. There's nothing beyond our capacity. There's no limit to America's future. The only thing that can tear America apart is America itself. Look, everybody knows who Donald Trump is. Let's show them who we are. We choose hope over fear, unity over division, science over fiction, and yes, truth over lies. It's time to stand up, take back our country. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Go get them. We can do this. Thank you, thank you, thank you.